Hello dear students of 11th class. So we will continue with our unit that is equilibrium. In equilibrium, our today's topic is ionic equilibrium. So as you know, we have already learned something about physical equilibrium. Then we studied chemical equilibrium, and today we shall learn another type of equilibrium, that is ionic equilibrium. Now in this equilibrium, as the term itself suggests, that ions are involved in this equilibrium. So we will be taking into consideration those compounds, those substances which are composed of ions. So we will first come to a new term for you, that is electrolyte. So before going to ionic equilibrium, let us know something about electrolyte. What an electrolyte is. An electrolyte is a substance. An electrolyte is a substance through which electric current can pass in solution state or molten state. So those substances which allow electric current to pass through it, either in solution or in molten state. Now such compounds, such substances are known as electrolytes. Now for example, I take an illustration. We have sugar. If sugar is dissolved in water, so this is water suppose, so it becomes sugar solution. Then I make another solution here, salt in water. So this is the salt solution, salt in water solution, and this is sugar in water solution. Now we have found that electricity does not pass through this solution, through sugar solution. What does it mean? It means that it is not an electrolyte. So what is it? It is a non-electrolyte. On the other hand, electric current does pass through salt solution. So salt solution is an electrolyte. So now which compounds are electrolytes? Which substances are electrolytes? We have many acids which behave as electrolytes. Then we have bases as electrolytes, and we have salts. These all substances are electrolytes. For example, let me take an acid, say hydrochloric acid, say sulfuric acid, nitric acid, acetic acid. These are all examples of electrolytes. Similarly, if I take bases, say sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, these are bases and these are also electrolytes. Then we have salts, sodium chloride, calcium chloride, potassium chloride. These are all examples of salts. So these salts, these bases and these acids, they are all electrolytes. So what are electrolytes now? Electrolytes can be acids, they can be bases, they can be salts. So when electric current passes through these electrolytes, when we put these substances in water, for example, let me take an example here. This is acid. Let me make its aqueous solution, that is its solution in water. When we make a solution of a substance in water, that solution is known as its aqueous solution. So what happens to it? It dissociates, it ionizes into ions. And which ions are formed? This is hydronium ion plus chloride ion. So what has happened to this? It has turned into ions. It has changed into ions. Similarly, I have this nitric acid. Now if I make its aqueous solution, what will be formed? Hydronium ion It is a positive ion, and then we will have nitrate ion. Similarly, let me take another example. This is acetic acid. Let me make its aqueous solution. It also breaks down into acetate ion and hydronium ion. This is hydronium ion and this is acetate ion. So what we have found, that electrolytes, they ionize, they change into ions, and this process is known as dissociation, that is breakup. So breakup of an electrolyte, breakdown of an electrolyte into ions is known as ionization or dissociation. Now we have a term here. Before going to that term, let me throw light on strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes. Strong and weak. Now we know that electrolytes, they change into ions, they ionize into ions. And then what are strong electrolytes? Strong electrolytes completely change into ions. For example, this is an example of strong electrolyte, hydrochloric acid. When we make its aqueous solution, it completely dissociates, it ionizes into hydronium ion plus chloride ion. So it is a strong electrolyte. So what are strong electrolytes? Those electrolytes which completely ionize into ions, which completely dissociate into ions. We have another example of this strong electrolyte, nitric acid. It is its aqueous solution. It completely ionizes to nitrate ion and hydronium ion. On the other hand, this is another electrolyte, say acetic acid. Let me make its aqueous solution. It also ionizes into hydronium ion and acetate ion. Now see the difference. Here, these electrolytes, they completely ionize into ions, completely, 100%. But here, in this case, in case of acetic acid does not completely ionize. It can reverse. So we can represent this by these two arrows, reversible arrows. But here, strong electrolytes, when they undergo dissociation, when they dissociate, when they ionize, we represent them by just a single arrow in the forward direction. So these are not reversible. But as far as weak electrolytes, their dissociation is concerned, that can be reversible in nature, and that is represented by this. So we have another term at our hands now, that is dissociation, degree of dissociation. Here the degree of dissociation is very high, that is why they are strong electrolyte. Here the degree of dissociation is very low. Now what is degree of dissociation? Degree of dissociation means the extent of association, to which extent an electrolyte dissociates, that breaks down, that splits up, that is known as degree of dissociation. So let me come to this term now, that is degree of dissociation. In broad terms, degree of dissociation is the extent of dissociation, to which extent or extent of ionization of an electrolyte, to which extent an electrolyte ionizes, whether it ionizes to a greater extent or to a lesser extent. So if we have what its definition can be put like this. It is the ratio of the molecules of the electrolyte, the ratio of the molecules of electrolyte which split, that means it is those molecules which split to the total number of molecules of the electrolyte. So degree of dissociation is basically ratio. Now let me show you that how degree of dissociation is represented. It is represented by alpha. Now alpha, what is alpha? Alpha is degree of dissociation. Degree of dissociation. So alpha is equal to what? The ratio of molecules of electrolyte. This is molecules of electrolyte which split. That means which have broken down, which have ionized those molecules to its ratio to the total number of molecules, total number of molecules of the electrolyte. This gives us a definition for degree of dissociation, which is represented by alpha. Now coming to degree of dissociation, you must remember that degree of dissociation of strong electrolytes, for strong electrolytes, always remember, for strong electrolytes, for strong electrolytes, alpha means degree of dissociation, it is always equal to 1. And for weak electrolytes, weak means which do not ionize completely, for weak electrolytes, degree of dissociation, that is alpha, it is always less than 1. So when we have strong electrolytes, then alpha is always equal to 1, that is the degree of dissociation is 1. And when we have weak electrolytes, in case of weak electrolytes, alpha is always less than 1. So please remember, as far as ionic equilibrium, which is our today's topic, is concerned, it takes place only in weak electrolytes. Why? Because only in case of weak electrolytes we have a reversible equation. So here we have a law that is known as Ostwald's law of dilution. Let us know what this law is and how we apply it. So let me take a reversible reaction and we shall be taking a weak electrolyte, because this law is applicable to only weak electrolytes. Why weak electrolytes? Because ionic equilibrium takes place only in weak electrolytes, because the reaction of weak electrolytes is reversible, while as of strong electrolytes is not reversible. So we shall be taking a reversible reaction. So consider a reversible reaction, of a weak electrolyte, let me take a weak electrolyte. Suppose we have a weak electrolyte AB. Now it undergoes dissociation, which I will represent by reversible arrow, because it is a weak electrolyte. It will ionize into ions, A positive and B negative ions. So it has gone dissociation. Now in this reaction, let initial concentration of this, its initial, that is reactants, initial concentration, of what? Of reactants, let it be C. Now what about the initial concentration of these two? Their concentration will be 0. Why? Because the reaction has not taken place as yet, because it is initial concentration. So the concentration of A positive and B negative will be 0 in the initial stage. In the initial stage, the concentration of AB is C, and those of A positive and B negative ions is 0. Now, when this reaction is in the state of equilibrium, at equilibrium, what do you mean by equilibrium? When rate of forward reaction becomes equal to rate of backward reaction, that stage will be known as equilibrium. Now let us find what will happen to the concentration at the state of equilibrium. At the state of equilibrium, the concentration of these reactants will be, its concentration will be 1 minus alpha. 1, you know, 1 is the degree of dissociation for strong electrolytes, but we will minus it. We will subtract alpha from 1. So what about the concentration of these? It will be alpha, it will be C alpha, now C alpha, and it will be also C alpha. It is at the state of chemical equilibrium. Now let us applying law of chemical equilibrium. Law of chemical equilibrium. If we apply law of chemical equilibrium to the above reversible reaction, we will get K. K, you know, it is an equilibrium constant. It will be the product of molar concentration of products. Now products are here A positive and B, their molar concentration. Concentration of A positive and B negative upon the concentration of reactants. What are the reactants here? AB, their molar concentration. This is after applying law of chemical equilibrium. Now if we further solve it, what will we get? Concentration of A here, this is the concentration of A, C alpha into B negative, that is concentration of B, it is again C alpha upon concentration of AB. Concentration of AB is this, C into 1 minus alpha. If we further solve it, let us solve this equation further. We will get K is equal to, now just see here, this C and this C will go. So what will be left behind? C alpha into alpha will give you alpha square upon 1 minus alpha. This is how the reaction goes. Now if we further solve this, what will we get? We can, because these are weak electrolytes, for weak electrolytes, always remember, for weak electrolytes, alpha mean degree of dissociation is very small. It is very small, it is less than 1 as compared to 1. If we compare alpha to 1, it is very small as compared to 1, hence it is neglected. So what will we do? We will neglect alpha. Why? Because alpha in this case, in case of weak electrolytes, is very small. So we will, what we will do? We will remove this alpha. So we will get K is equal to C alpha square. We have removed this alpha. So when suppose this it has been removed, so what will be left behind? 1. No need to write 1 here. So it will be K equal to C alpha square. If we further solve it, let us bring this here. C alpha square is equal to K. Now alpha, let me find alpha here. Alpha will be equal to square root of K upon C. Now coming to C, if V is the volume. Now suppose V is the volume of solution in liters, which contains 1 mole, of electrolyte. Then this C will be reciprocal of V. So we will place 1 by V in place of what? This C. So what will we get? We will get alpha equal to square root of K upon 1 by V, like this. If we further solve this, it will be alpha equal to square root of kV. So this is the equation now. This is Ostwald's law of dilution. So what we have found from this? We have found, so on increasing, when we have increased the volume, now the question is how we increase the volume. We increase the volume on dilution, that is by adding water. On dilution, the alpha increases. Here we have a direct relationship. So for a weak electrolyte, what we conclude from this? For a weak electrolyte, according to this equation, this alpha, what is alpha? Degree of dissociation. The degree of dissociation is directly proportional. We have a direct relationship here. Is directly proportional to the square, this is the square root, to the square root of dilution. This is dilution of the solution. This is Ostwald's law of dilution, which says that degree of dissociation is directly proportional to square root of dilution of the solution. So it is all for today for ionic equilibrium. Thank you very much.